I just can't with this guy, man. Like I really
can't. I
Hey,
can't.
it's one Fall WrestleCast.
You're
hey,
not even recording.
Actually I am, bud. Live can be. So if you let me go through my shtick,
I'm sorry.
Here,
do your spiel.
Muchly appreciated. Anywho, so we got some stuff to talk about here, wrestling. But first of all, we're gonna get to the bottom of why Derek is the way he is.
This is a good thing.
Welcome to the One Fall WrestleCast.
What's up, guys?
One Fall, we the ones.
Well, we the ones.
We the ones.
He's the two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So here's what's the funniest about this to me is that like Derek's stuff was on and good, like it was on and up. And, like, we could hear him, like, fuddling around doing crap. We said, all right, 7:45. 7:45 rolls by, still no Derek in the chair. 7:48 rolls by, we see the lamp turn on. A couple different colors. And finally, Derek, as he's over, starts fucking with something next to his desk over here. I assume putting beers in the Xbox fridge. Doing something, I don't know, just going
with the fucking snack rack taken out. They get to take the snack rack out.
Anyway, and he's sitting there, he's flicking, he didn't put his headphones on. Meanwhile, we're 3 minutes late already. Flicking like, do I want it blue? Nah, fuck blue. Gold, orange, red. I don't know. This is regular colors, fine. And then finally puts his headphones on, like, what's going on, guys? Like, what?
And then I'm like, hey, man. We're late starting. He's like, no, I was early.
Yeah,
I was early today.
I just want to know.
I was here.
In the
meantime, Tom, what you missed?
Is this what you're like at work? Is this what you're like at work? Do you like show up and then fuck off for like 10 minutes and come back?
Basically, yes.
In the meantime, Tom, so he
I will
never even like sits down at the microphone at all when he's here early, right? However, he does type and send me a message. However, he didn't pay attention to what window he was in. So that there is in the live chat.
Oh. It is.
So
that's what it was. Well, now we know why he is the way he is. I get it.
Shit falling off my walls behind me. Like, man, gracious.
What's going on?
Oh, fellas. So I got a new setup, and I'm not sure how I'm liking the camera now, because now I like to look.
You're in a higher.
Here.
You have a hhigher frame rate.
Yeah.
Less,
all right. Well, that's good.
Higher frame rate, Derek. You still seem to be sitting in the dark.
Go Starlight.
Well, that's just because the camera lens is getting more light, so it doesn't really know what to do with that with that feedback right now. That's why Derek's in high resolution. That, and he's got on a crispy fresh white tee that he probably went and took it right out of the package.
Hey, I took this right out of the package this morning too. Actually, it's a little tight on my neck. I don't like that.
You know, to be honest, I can't stand the smell of a shirt right out of the package. I hate it. I just think it's just not.
They have a smell.
It's a weird plastic smell.
Aren't you a smoker? Tell me you can smell new T-shirts and you don't like that, but you're more than willing to have like fire from here to your face.
So, an $8 Marlboro smells a lot better than that.
So Tom, yesterday I went down to Derek's, did a little riding, right? And I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna come down. Let's go take Jeep out and get in some trouble. All right, there, man. I'll see you in a little bit. So I roll up. I walk in the garage. I'm like, all right, man, you ready? He's like, oh, got lots of money on this football game. We gotta wait on that. I'm like, how much money you got on the football game? Oh, about $5.
$5.
I'm like, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna watch this game. would not go out into the woods
for your $5. You couldn't put it like on your phone and in your ear. Do you guys not have reception out the holidays?
No.
Guess what we did? We waited until the game was over, and it went into overtime. How great was that?
And
Derek,
the next game. But hey, that was a good game. That was a good finish. That was crazy. And I lost $5. So
and you lost $5 anyway.
Yeah. So
thank you, Vikings, for somehow just being the dumb luck football team of the world.
Yeah, that was a wild finish, though. Hey, first of all, I want to start something off outside of the professional wrestling world. I know we kind of already talked about football a little bit. Man, did anybody in here ever really follow the UFC?
Well, not hardcore enough to be other than when his balls was hot.
So one of my favorite fighters to watch, dude named Anthony Johnson, Anthony Rumble Johnson, big motherfucker, right? Used to cut down to 170 pounds, and he walks around at 285. So he would, for his fights, he would cut down to 170 pounds. Well, eventually he missed a couple weight cuts, and then he found himself in the 205-pound division, and he was a murderer, top tier guy, right? He retired early because he wanted to pursue a profession in the cannabis world. I bring all that up. I bring all that up because I just found out yesterday that he had passed away yesterday at the age of 38.
Oh, that was him. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, man,
I saw that yesterday.
Bro. Absolutely wild. That's sad, and man.
I guess if you're going to cut weight like that so often, that's probably not great for the longevity of your body.
Yeah, but he's been retired now for a long time. I mean, and we're talking about, even years and years prior that he was doing all that. I don't know, man. It's wild.
That is. R.I.P. I saw that yesterday, too. I didn't know that much about his backstory, but yeah, I saw that he had passed.
Yeah, I had no idea who he was. Didn't see that, though. Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, so, right out the box here, man, let's just go ahead and get the elephant out of the room. I read something the other day, and I'm assuming Derek probably saw the same thing, about celebrities in professional wrestling. Now,
we're kicking it off here. All right.
Generally, I'm not for it, right? I think that there's something with the showmanship of a tent pole event like a SummerSlam or a WrestleMania or a All Out or something like that, right? That you've built your brand off of, and you want that to be a giant thing, and you want to draw as many eyeballs to it as possible, especially whenever you're trying to sell out these massive stadiums for these larger events. And as of late, in the last couple of years, we've seen the celebrities have become more and more involved in the actual professional wrestling piece of it right now. I mean, you can go all the way back to WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2. Mr. T was very involved in both of those WrestleManias. So much so he had that boxing match with Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 2. Obviously, he was on the poster for the original WrestleMania, which was just smart business at the time. Mr. T in 1984 was the biggest star on the planet.
Oh, yeah. There was nobody
most recognizable person ever.
Did you ever have the Mr. T cereal as a kid? As a 3-year-old kid. This is one of my first memories ever is watching Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with my mom and dad, right? And we had just gotten a VCR, right? So it is peak mid-late 80s. And Mr. T not only has a cereal, but he's got a cartoon, man, and it's teaming up with Mr. T, Golden Sweet Crispy Teas. It's fucking wild. Find it on YouTube. It's wild as shit. But I don't remember what the Mr. T cereal looked like, but I remember begging my mom and dad for the Mr. T cereal. This was the first thing I remember ever begging my parents for was this Mr. T cereal, and I know they bought it for me. I have no recollection of what they taste like, but I can remember the theme song. This is my first memory until Batman Returns came out, and then there was Batman cereal, and I wanted that. So it
probably tasted like golden cocoa butter.
Probably,
or just sugar and butter.
They were allegedly Golden Sweet Crispy Teas, so probably just sugar and butter. But it was. I remember the Batman cereal was basically Lucky Charms with little Batman symbols in it. but that I do remember distinctly. But the Mr. T cereal with the golden sweet crispy teas. Yeah, Mr. T, big deal. So let's talk. Can I talk then about the celebrity first, and then we'll hear what Derek has to say about it? So I actually am. You're gonna be shocked. I'm kind of a mark for this kind of stuff. I do enjoy the because I can remember, Cyndi Lauper as well coming out with Captain Lou Albano.
Yeah,
and
but that falls into the same vein of just like that celebrity, existence, right? Like, I mean, you take a look at like WrestleMania 12. You had, Jenny McCarthy and Pam Anderson there in WrestleMania 12, and like at that time they were the two biggest female stars on the planet.
Well, and right? I think it helps. I think it helps to have. In those early aspects, they were just cameo appearances, right? I don't think there was really much involvement other than, hey, there's the celebrity. I mean, I guess Mr. T maybe a little bit was involved, but after that, there wasn't so much involvement, probably until you got all the way up to Mike Tyson in the mid-90s, which I think is still so.
Or Mike Tyson last week.
Or Mike Tyson last week. It's crazy. So I think the question of are celebrities, is it bad for wrestling? Wrestling in and of itself, like the actual aspect of the wrestling, I think no. But I think if it's definitely a thing that needs to be used as sparingly as possible, because I think that you run the real risk of overusing it real fast. And I feel like overuse to a celebrity degree particularly turns real quickly into go away heat, or turns it to something that's not what the mainstream wrestling fan wants to see, and just takes a hard left turn out of where you would want to see it. And I think at that point it can hurt the business when it's like, this week we don't have Logan Paul, so the 500,000 people that tuned in to see Logan Paul are not going to tune in. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that 500,000 people tuned in just to see Logan Paul and that we're going to see it, but it can get to the point of that to where it's like, oh, there's no celebrity this time. Well, I'm not going to watch. So you could have these big inflated celebrity ratings and then these dwindling non-celebrity. And I think that's, I think there's a line to walk there. And I think the WWE does it well. Honestly, I think AEW does it pretty well too. For the most part.
Wait, what?
I know, right?
Compliment
AEW. I know.
Oh, you getting soft over there, full belly Tom.
I might be a little soft.
More pot roast for Tom.
More pot roast for me. I do not need a snack.
Listen, Derek, what a good show they had this week, man.
But AEW, it was better. It was better. It was better than last week. Oh my god.
So you watched it?
I did. I could.
You fucking Mark.
Well, so last week's was so bad. Like, it made my mouth taste bad as I watched it. So it was like, this time instead of, so I watched it again, but with obviously like much lower expectations, and it was pretty decent. It's pretty decent.
It was pretty decent.
So I don't know. It was Derek. What do you think about the celebrities in the wrestling?
All right, so before we get to that, I just have to point out that I'm not a big fan of this new setup. This is really weird. I gotta lower my camera because I can't. I gotta look at you guys so I can talk to you, but I can't because I gotta look up here because otherwise it looks like I'm just looking down like I'm high all the time, and I'm just like, I don't know. I don't like it. Anyway, so celebrities in professional wrestling. Yeah, so as you said, Tom, it's got its positives, it's got its negatives. Do I like seeing Logan Paul myself personally in the main event of Blood Money? Not necessarily. Have we seen, though, over the years that it increases, the visibility of the product, and when the celebrity can actually pull it off as well as Jake Paul did, or Logan Paul, whichever one he is. And also Bad Bunny, like I see you have on the thumbnail there. He also did a good job. It can definitely have its positives. There is the possibility, though, increasing the possibility of injury, which we saw at Blood Money. Unfortunately, Logan Paul came out with some torn muscles and some and all that good stuff.
Well, I
the
think
real
the
issue
threat
I
of
have with that though is what if this was Roman Reigns? He could have easily, the roles could have easily been switched, and now we have a hurt tribal chief because we want to go out here and bring Logan Paul in to get some eyeballs on our product and put
I don't hate that
our,
take.
you know, our
I don't hate
money
that.
maker here in danger.
So I don't hate that take either, and I think the WWE in particular is probably very conscious of that, especially guys like Roman. I think are incredibly conscious of that. However, if we're talking about it as a whole, yeah, I'd say that's a huge, huge risk. I think, probably one of the things that was like the biggest what if for this was not whether or not Roman would get hurt, because I don't feel like Roman took bumps that were like about to hurt him out of the ordinary, just going back and thinking through that match.
Yeah.
And plus Roman takes, but like Roman's not, he's not going to do, he knows what he's doing well enough, and he's not high impact enough to like actually hurt himself. I don't think, at least not without it just kind of being a fluke. He's not very dangerous toward himself. He's very Hulk Hogan in that aspect. Hulk Hogan never hurt himself.
Yeah.
I think that there's guys who like I didn't worry and I didn't think about going into this. Roman's going to get hurt fighting Logan Paul. Never in my wildest dreams would I have imagined that. Now when Logan Paul got hurt, I went, that kind of makes sense. Considering all things considered. However, the man did put on a phenomenal match, and that's the one thing that I would say about WWE is the last two, celebrities they've had were Logan Paul and Bad Bunny, and both of them really, I think, outperformed anybody's expectation. Logan Paul probably outperformed everybody's expectation all three times that he showed up.
Yes, absolutely.
I think every time
continues to get better though. That's the thing.
Yeah, I think every time he showed, how Logan Paul at this point is a better wrestler than 95% of the AEW roster, and I'm not the one that said that, but I saw that on the internet. I saw that on the internet, and I was like, "That's
the internet's full of lies."
It may have been. They may have said 75% of AEW's total roster, and that is entirely true. He's certainly better than probably.
Wow.
Look, dude, if you go down that roster,
I'll give him
list,
75% of the women's AEW roster.
No, we're not even talking about the.
I'll give him 100% of the women's roster.
He's better than 100%. Yeah, that's it.
Which is sad too, because like they've got some good talent over there on the women's side of the ball. They just still have yet to figure out how to utilize it properly.
Well, it's like they only give them a one slot. It's like, okay, y'all got 8 minutes. Here's your woman slot on Wednesday, and then here's your woman slot on Friday. And
well, they sure as shit gave Toni Storm a bunch of time on AEW Dark this week when she got her fucking face caved in.
I shared that with you guys. Did you? That was why are we putting our champion on AEW Dark with a bunch of jobbers who would throw other people onto her? Like, I can't even.
Hey, so I have a serious question for you. Is the female version of a chooch a cheech?
No, I would just call a woman who I thought was a chooch also a chooch.
Okay, I just
a choochette. No, we should. I don't know. We should consult my father on this one actually, because I don't know. I've only ever heard my grandfather call my father a chooch, and in turn my father to call me a chooch. So I'm not entirely sure, to be honest with you.
So your grandfather was the tribal chooch.
Yes, absolutely.
I had a boss called people a chooch all the time.
you chooch. Get out of here.
It wasn't so passive. Hey, you look like a fucking chooch. Hey, you look like a fucking chooch. I'm like, calm down, pal. You're gonna have a fucking stroke. It's okay.
You chooch. What did you do? Yeah, I don't know. But as far as the what were we talking about? Besides celebrities. Celebrities aren't the ones suplexing other jabronis onto superstars' faces, so maybe it's not as bad as we think. And maybe I think there's more eyes on the celebrities. I think the celebrities have a good way of bringing more eyes to the product.
And that's what it's about, right? It's about utilizing that name identity for the non hardcore fan, a more casual fan, the more mainstream audience, if we want to take it that far. And like, I don't have a problem with that part of it, but you know, like I've never been a fan of like the extracurriculars, like those fucking idiots from SNL that were in the storyline for a month
Yeah,
leading into WrestleMania with Braun
that
Strowman.
either.
Like, I mean, yeah, it was the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, but like, still, man, like
Yeah,
I could have done without that, you know. And then there's certain points in time where like,
also let's think about the Jackass match with that Sami Zayn did. And now Sammy turned chicken shit into chicken salad all the time, but you know the Jackass match was also pretty fun.
oh, it's a highlight of WrestleMania.
I was also, I mean, that was fun too. So I agree. I think when it misses, you know, I think it's you know, there's a lot of potential, but I think when it misses like astronomically. And just like you were saying with Colin Jost and Michael Che, with that angle with Braun Strowman, that could not have been worse. I think maybe the only worst segment I've seen in the last decade was Bobby Lashley's sisters. So I think that's.
I will say though, when Bad Bunny took the 24/7 7-Eleven title to SNL, whenever he performed on there, great cross promotion advertising right there.
Absolutely,
that was cool.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess you take the good with the bad with the cross promotion. I think that failed miserably, but you know, I think for the most part, most of them are pretty successful. Oh boy, here comes Mustafa Ali.
I mean, my man gets put into a primetime blood money attraction match against the biggest fucking star in all of pro wrestling.
I thought that was that you and I talked about this a few weeks ago. That was like the most brilliant piece of booking that Triple H could have ever, or anybody could have ever done. And everybody ho-hummed it, boo-hooed it, but it was like, no, this is the perfect blood money match.
They tore the fucking house down, pal.
Well, yeah, one, they tore the house down.
They
Two,
backed it up in the ring. I think that was the most important part.
You guys know I don't watch these blood money like these shits, right? But I watched for this. Right?
We can't trust anything you tell us. You haven't watched AEW for 3 weeks, but you have.
No, I did. I watched last week and I watched this week.
Yeah, although you come in here last week and shit all over me trying to say that.
God, I came in seething because I watched it like sort of before. I came in like, you fucking made me watch this. Was the worst thing. Although the internet crapped all over Wardlow and Arya Daivari that match because Wardlow just smashed him. But I thought that was because like Arya Daivari's been like coming out here as like, oh, look at this big guy, he's so intimidating. He beat the living tar out of this guy real fast, powerbomb the shit out of him.
Yep, and then got choked out.
Yeah. But you know, heel
Samoa Joe is where it's at, pal.
I mean, heel Samoa Joe is absolutely where it's at. But see, that's all of that's good, right? All of that after the match, like that come in like I think the internet crapped on it because they were like, I can't believe. But then now it was. I thought it was masterful, and now we've shifted focus, and I'm good with that because AEW needed to shift their focus because their focus 2 weeks ago was utter bullshit. So the fact that focus shifted to this week, I thought was great because I don't want to keep watching turds fly into my eyes. So I'm glad they veered away from the turds. But that's probably the nicest thing I'll say about AEW for a little bit.
So what's our next problem though with their booking? Like because it shifts focus so much, like. Even myself, who has been a staunch supporter all these years, my walls are finally starting to break down a little bit. And the booking, it has no bad focus. Shows. Yeah, you've got way too much talent. You bought Ring of Honor, especially when you brought Ring of Honor into this whole thing. I feel like everything's just shit to bed now. I don't know anything about what the storylines are. You'll go from a storyline 3 weeks ago, and that's our new focus point this week. Like it needs to be more consistency. I need more time.
Oh yeah,
you get this Ring of Honor shit on either a different channel or move it to YouTube.
I will say
separation.
That if you separate it mentally and look at who's technically Ring of Honor and who's technically AEW, the Ring of Honor stuff is much better than the AEW stuff. Because Ring of Honor, you got Samoa Joe, you got Chris Jericho. Does Bryan Danielson still count as Ring of Honor? He has a belt, does he not?
No, he doesn't.
I thought he had a. No, you're right, he doesn't.
Everybody's got belts now. I mean,
I feel like everybody's got
to the whole system.
Yeah,
I got a belt. I got a Groove Life belt.
Oh, how's that? Are those fun?
That's dope. I love it.
Sweet. No more pants falling down. I need that.
Great
Yeah.
gift. Great gift.
Shout out to the
Shout out
tribal
to
chiefs
Rick.
here in the holler.
So,
But yeah.
Yeah,
Listen.
Rick gave some feedback yesterday. You know what he said? I tuned in one time, and all I see is some drunk guy sitting in the dark, not saying shit, just laughing. It's like, wow. I took that to heart. And as you can tell,
You turn the light on?
yeah, I turned the light on. And
The drunk guy sitting in the dark laughing. I turned the goddamn light on.
that conversation was great to be a part of. He's like, I said, hey, Derek, man, like, you actually watched some wrestling this week? He's like, and Rick goes, that motherfucker ain't watched nothing. He goes, I'd like to watch the show more often, but you know why I don't? Because that idiot that sits in the dark and just giggles. He's like, Jesus Christ, Derek, how much do you drink before you go in there?
yeah, he was rough. Like, I mean, he was just letting me
Yeah,
have
he
it.
cut you up. He cut you up pretty good.
Feeling a little slashed.
Cut you up
It
pretty
was rough.
good, bro. He cut you up so good you decided to show up sober today, huh?
Sober and with the lights on.
Yeah, he turned the lights on and hasn't had a drink yet. I use just a little high. Okay. Yeah, I usually wait till we get here to like pour a drink.
Oh yeah, no, I was
it's like 7:30. I'm like, all right, now it's time for number one. But no, Derek comes in.
There's like 4:30, and I'm like, time for number one.
Derek comes in full tilt.
Hey, I got an idea. What y'all want to talk about today? He's our Michael P.S. Hayes, bud.
He is our Michael P.S. Hayes. He is.
Yep.
Hey, did you see this shit about the WEA? Huh? Did you see that? Well, the fucking Sammy Guevara gets heat even whenever he's not in the arena. Over there at the WEA.
So that was more sad than anything, was it not?
Bro, you got an entire different sector of combat sports fans that fucking can't stand you. Like,
I don't know that they can't stand him. They pretended like they couldn't hear him. There was a full arena in Dubai. It was like, oh, y'all want to see me box? It was like crickets.
Now
Crickets. So much crickets, in fact, that the guy was like, well, ask him again. I've never heard that was almost a Jeb Bush, please clap kind of moment. It was that level of moment. And then he decided to lay it on. It's like, I know you're too stupid. And it's like, oh God, you're not even good at this. And
you're walking nuclear heat. Like
you kind of heard it went from crickets to a low murmur of no. Like nobody, they didn't actually give him heat. It was just like you heard no. It was it was so bad. I was like, I don't like Sammy at all, but I was embarrassed for him right there.
My favorite wrestlers to ever punch Sammy Guevara in the face this week.
That's Derek's.
That's right.
Actually, that was Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
Go DB.
Brian Danielson.
Or BD. Whichever one we're going with.
Whichever one. It was right at the start of Dynamite, was it not? Punched him right in his fucking mouth.
I think it was the second or third match.
Yeah.
It was good though.
What? Punched him right in his fucking mouth. And kicked him.
He deserved it.
Sure did.
You know he's not going to be kicking people for a little while.
That devil bottle that gave me. Oh, go.
No, that's not the devil bottle that gave you the cringies.
Oh,
this is a different bottle.
So
I just been gifted a new bottle of whiskey a couple of days ago, Tom, and it was still in my Jeep. And Derek was like, "Oh, let me try that there fancy whiskey." Proceeds to knock it back like it's a beer.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
And then
that goes
hell. I gave it hell.
Doesn't understand why his body shivered and started to slowly shut down
violently.
Yeah.
And then I had hiccups for 2 hours.
I'm surprised you didn't shit yourself.
Wow.
So I thought he was gonna vomit all over me, bro. I was
So I don't know if I don't drink for a couple days, I have to. It's the second I have a drink, like a couple days later, I have to poop immediately. I don't know if this happens to you guys, but like to me, it's like gotta go. Anyway, so that's just my experience. Once it touches your lips, gotta go. So anyway, where were we before we talked about poop and whiskey?
So
I think what we're trying to
somebody
transition us, but
yeah, I was, and then Derek stepped all over me like he tends to do. But it's okay, bud. I forgive you. Listen, I'm just happy
even when
that
I'm
you're
sober,
here.
I do it.
You know,
Even when
that's
I'm
it.
sober.
I'm just happy that you're here, pal. I really, really am.
Aren't we all?
Kevin Owens towards
Sheesh.
MCL.
You just need to throw that out for me.
Yeah, that sucks.
It is.
Because I saw that too.
Yeah.
Because I thought for sure he was going to be the extra guy on Team Drew, right? Like that seemed like it was going to make sense, but I don't think for Survivor Series. But now that kind of throws a monkey wrench into all that because that just sucks. Because I was hoping to see Kevin Owens back in a prominent spot again, but yeah, MCL torn.
Yep,
Fuck it.
it's wild, man.
Fucking
It sucks.
shitty
Sucks for
shit
us,
luck.
for
War
sure.
games.
Yeah, shit
Yeah.
luck. It really is because it's he was that extra guy on Team Drew, right? Like there was that was going to be the way, and we were going to be like, oh my god, this is going to be so amazing because then you get Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn, and you get Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, and then you get the Usos versus who's with
The Brawling Brutes.
Brawling Brutes. Like oh my god, that would have been amazing.
Yeah, it would have been.
Now we got to like find some other chooch to insert there that doesn't make nearly as much sense. And I don't know. They'll probably like pick Bobby Lashley or something, or maybe
It'd be really swell if they could just fit your MCL up real quick and you'd be good.
Yeah, no, that's not how that.
Let's go ahead and develop that.
That's not how that works, especially when you're whatever. Kevin Owens is our age. He's like 36, 37.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If Vince McMahon would have been spending all that money on those young ladies that he was gallivanting around with,
Bro, I don't know what you're talking about. Have you not seen pictures of these women that he's taken out? These are not young women. Like
No, these were the opposite of. Look, all I'm saying is Vince dates women his own age. Let's go.
oh, what a good guy.
Let's put that in the.
At least he keeps it in his own lane.
Yeah, he's not. These women are not. They're not spring chickens.
that's twice now I've looked at this and on a superficial level was just like, you left Linda for that?
Ooh.
Sometimes you look at it, and you go, ooh, that feeling Derek had when he chugged all that whiskey.
That little thing clicks, and it's like, oh, she does that thing that you like. That's why.
I mean, he has to be. So Vince McMahon doesn't wear glasses. He probably like just forces his eyes to see well, or he just convinces it. Like he thinks it's like weakness. Like if you can't see, like not being able to see is weakness. So he's just like, argh! But
He does wear glasses. He wears readers.
Well, because he has to actually read, but Vince can't fucking see shit. he doesn't see these women are just
glaucoma.
A touch. He wears readers just so that he can like actually read, but then he takes them shits right off because not seeing is weakness, and Vince McMahon can see perfectly. Okay.
Hey, boss, I got an ideal. You should probably go get them eyes looked at.
Boom. That's why he liked Austin Theory so much. His Theory would read to him. He would read him. Vince didn't have to put the glasses on to read it. Theory would read it to him.
Well, we all know it wasn't Otis reading to him.
No.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen on that. Oh, that's fucked up. Otis completed pet cemetery, bud. When was the last time you picked up a book?
You guys know I read. I sent you a picture.
He read the Moxley. He actually read John Moxley's book. He does. Derek understands that what did Tyrion say? He said that a mind needs books like a sword needs a whetstone.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, he also said, I drink and I know things.
Yeah, he did.
Guy also do that. Yes.
You don't know shit, bud.
Well, but Derek's also a little guy.
Yeah, you don't know fucking.
I'm the fucking Tyrion Lannister of the show.
So he's 2 out of 3. So he's 2 out of 3 because he's a little guy and he reads books.
And he drinks. He just doesn't know things.
Look, that's like
shit takes. That's it. I drink and I have shit takes.
No, sometimes your takes are good. Sometimes you just have a take and we're just like, ow, no. Why wouldn't you run that by us first before saying something? Yeah, you put it out in the ether.
No,
Why
honestly, though, shout out to Otis for that. That's great. And I love that the first book was Pet Sematary. I'm a huge Stephen King reader myself. So,
Beep,
go, Otis.
beep,
What? What
beep.
does that mean?
Oh, that's just you backing up the bus that you just fucking rolled over Otis, bud.
Oh, man, he would beat the shit out of me. You know I ain't going to take that serious.
Oh yeah. I
I'm
love. I know
sorry.
it's good. I know we're a few weeks removed now, but the Halloween that Halloween match, so where Otis did the worm. And, oh yeah, we got a little bit of that back. I've been missing that Otis quite a bit. When I saw that,
nice. It was nice for one night only. And he was like, "One night only." Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh man, I love it. I miss it. I need it. Bring it back. When it comes back, when it comes back, it's gonna be so good. But not that it's not good now. I don't like that. Don't say that to me, Walter. I don't like that.
So speaking of one night only, you know what doesn't appear to be one night only?
What?
Stone Cold Steve Austin's return to the ring.
I saw that. It is yeah. He got the itch.
I haven't seen this. What are we
He
doing?
got the itch. He got bit by the bug.
Rumor has it there, Mr. Derek, that Stone Cold's prepping for WrestleMania.
He got bit. He got bit by the
hell
bug.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! He got bit by the bug.
That's great.
I'm happy, but at the same point in time, I'm worried, right? Because last year at WrestleMania was perfect. Like,
I mean, it was pretty good. I don't know. Vince fucked up that stunner pretty bad.
yeah,
although we did get Austin 2 nights in a row.
Right, and I mean everything about that was good.
You know how you can tell Triple H is back? You know what the theme for Survivor Series is this year? Black Sabbath War Pigs. War Pigs. Black Sabbath.
Well, yeah, because it's War Games.
I know.
And that's the War Games anthem on NXT every year. So it's just
War Games.
Yes, we're not going to get that this year.
Yeah, we can't do that anymore because
No, we
don't have
can't.
Wiggle.
Can they
maybe
have
one night only he'll come back.
Maybe they'll just pay him $1 million just for him to come and say it one time.
War Games.
Keep it on loop forever.
That'd be worth it.
Yes,
for
please.
Me.
Yeah, that's a investment well made right there, bud.
Well made. It'll get a pop out of me.
I mean, what doesn't get a pop out of you? You fucking.
Lots of things don't. NXT or AEW last week did
you
not
were right
get a pop out of me.
NXT last week.
NXT also didn't get a pop out of me. If I'm being fair.
I mean, hey, so we were watching a little bit of NXT over at Derek's house. Listen, big ups to The Rock's daughter. What's her name? Simone,
yeah, but she's what? Something fire.
Yeah, what's her name? What's her?
I don't
working
name. She's in the she's in the schism with Joe Gacy, which is a great spot for her to be in. But man, poor girl. She looks just like her dad, man.
Face.
She really does look just like her dad. There is no questioning who her lineage is. What's her pro wrestling lineage? Oh, her dad's The Rock. I can tell. It's like
I feel like she could be lettered as a luchador.
It's like so we got Tamina out here now too, and there is no doubt that Tamina is Jimmy Snuka's daughter.
No, none whatsoever.
You want to talk about spitting image? Take Jimmy Snuka's face, you put it right there, and like bigger. I think is she bigger than her dad? Maybe not now.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not in his prime, but like she's like that's
like post murder.
She look like pre-murderer Jimmy Snuka was a bigger guy after he got off the roids.
So we're in the middle of the 25-year anniversary of the Montreal Screwjob this week, and it has been the most talked about topic on pro wrestling media this week. Bret Hart even said, "I wish I'd have never left WWE because I probably wouldn't have had to have wrestled Goldberg."
How is he? Goldberg is the only thing he's still salty about.
Yes.
Like
He fucking hates Goldberg.
Of all the stupid things that happened to him in WCW, it's just Goldberg. Like they signed him to WCW for more money than he was making in WWE, and the first thing they could think to do with him was let's make him a special guest referee.
Yeah, that's how he made his debut. Was a special guest referee.
What?
Like, greatest technical wrestler on the face of the planet. You're gonna debut him as a special guest referee.
Literally the best wrestler breathe. The best wrestler in that locker room at that time, hands down, like by far. At that point, like you're like, let's make him count. What the fuck? What? You could have been like, go out there and have 15 minutes with Macho Man.
Oh yeah.
Like we would still be talking about that today. Do you remember that time Bret Hart showed up and went 15 minutes with the Macho Man out of fucking nowhere? Like that would have been the coolest shit ever. But no,
absolutely.
Who was he?
Nope.
Who was he the special guest referee for? Does anybody remember the match? Because I sure as fuck don't.
It was actually Hogan and Savage, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, see what should have happened. So, oh my God. So what you're saying is, instead of it being Savage versus Bret Hart, it was like, no, Hogan was like, no, it
doesn't work for me, brother.
No, it doesn't work for me, brother. You be the special guest referee. It's me versus Savage.
It should have been Hogan as the special guest referee.
That would have been cool. Because Hogan couldn't wrestle. Hulk Hogan was, 48 years old at that point in time? Couldn't fucking wrestle anymore. Like,
painted on beard. Just get on the mic at this point.
Just yeah. I mean, wasn't on. Couldn't be on the roids anymore. Was way smaller than he ever was.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Still wore that weight belt though. Like he had something going on.
I need to look, man. I need to look.
It couldn't have been. It couldn't have been that. That would be
way too high profile. Like it almost seems like Bret Hart needed to boost a match rather than where that match should not have needed any sort of boost to have been over at the time.
Yeah.
But it was definitely anticlimactic, right? Do you know what do you know what else happened on the similar timeline here 4 years ago?
No,
waiting in anticipation.
Knows.
Becky Lynch got her face smashed in by Nia Jax, and the man was born.
Ah, nice. This is the Bloody Nose Day, huh? Happy Bloody Nose Day, Becky. Awesome.
The botch of all botches created probably one of the biggest stars in all of women's professional wrestling.
I mean, I love that they shared the images this week, and we just saw because for the longest time the only thing you'd see from the WWE network is those images in black and white. But this week you see him in the, and I remember watching it live and going, "Oh shit, Becky's busted open."
I need that.
That level of energy and that level of hype was something that there are very few things that I've felt in professional wrestling in an organic way, since the Attitude Era, and even during the Attitude Era. I mean, there's specific highs. That's kind of one of those organic highs that just comes out of nowhere, and you look back on it now, and you can even think back about it, and it still can kind of give you chills. I went back and because there was even a little bit of build to that, right? And then when Becky stormed Raw with all the women from SmackDown and got a punch in the face from Nia Jax and got up and kept going. It was like the bloodlust overtook her of her own blood. And it was just, she got the best of everybody that night. And then she gets up, she's finally in the crowd, arms in the air, bleeding profusely from the face, finally recognizes it, wipes the blood on her own face, and is just it's that image to me is just, I got goosebumps talking about it. It was so good. Yeah. It was so good. And, that's, you don't get a whole lot of moments like that. And I don't know that I can think of a moment since then that sort of stood up to it. But yeah, I can't believe that was 4 years ago now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's insanity.
And-
Unplanned gratuitous violence is always nice.
Like 16 years, if I'm not mistaken. We lost Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I mean, I thought
Yeah,
it
we
was
actually saw a
14.
tribute from
Maybe it was
Bandito
14.
on
I think it was 14.
page
16
Eddie
sounds-
this week.
16
So, yeah, that
years
sounds
sounds
about
like
right.
a long time.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, that's just what a shame. That's like what I mean, because the guy was, I mean, he was younger than we are now, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was like 34, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's just God. What? I mean, you talk a guy that fought and clawed, and the ultimate comeback story of just like had gotten himself in trouble so many times, but had finally had gotten himself clean, gotten everything clear. His life was in order. Had everything going for him. Just the sometimes
Latino heat.
the demons come and catch you, and that's God, it sucks. That's one of those things now that like you could look back on now as like the loss that not only him and his family and all of that, like I'm sure they lost too, because they felt that they had lost him before that, and then they get him back from the brink of whatever hells and demons he was dealing with, and then they lost him out of nowhere. Just Chavo comes to find him to go work out, brushing his teeth. Chavo comes to get him to work out. That's it. They finds him, with a toothbrush laying next to him on the bathroom floor.
Yeah,
sad.
Like, what the fuck? It's just like super sad. And that's one of those things that 14 years later we haven't, or whatever it was, 14 or 16. Like it's I don't think we'll ever recover from it.
It's one of those things, though, right? That's like such an influence on the product and the things that we see today.
To this day,
right? Like they're still doing the Eddie chair spot. Like Ray and Gunther did it. Like, come on, man.
Well, they're still doing the like. One thing you don't know about me, I lie. Then turning on somebody right there, Rhea's got a "Who's Your Mommy" shirt.
Yeah,
right now.
That's fantastic.
The man himself was timeless. He was before his time, pretty much all time, and even now that we've been without him for quite a bit of time, he's still as relevant as ever.
Absolutely. Shout out to Eddie Guerrero.
Speaking of relevant, isn't it almost our anniversary as well, fellas, for the show?
What was it? 2 years? Coming close to 2? It's got to be close. It's been more than one.
Yeah, that's already come and gone, guys.
We're almost. I say, wait,
what is it?
We almost 3.
Has it come and gone?
Yeah, it was like 3 weeks ago.
Well, Derek wasn't here.
Oh fuck. Well, probably not. So I'm reminding everyone now. Happy anniversary to us, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
2 years of shows. Well, I probably only have,
Derek's got about a year and
like 6 weeks.
Yeah,
like a year and 10
6
months.
weeks.
I probably missed 6 weeks of shows.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Dick.
I can't fucking stand you. Hey, so Tom, I know we touched on this last week when Derek wasn't here, but I feel that it needs to be brought up again because it's still kind of in the forefront of the wrestling news this week, and that's Nick Aldis giving notice to the NWA.
So, have you seen how like the NWA has what's the guy that just won the NWA title?
Tyrus.
Tyrus is a chooch. He's a fat old chooch.
The Funkasaurus.
Yeah, he sucks. But
he was
anyway,
the Funkasaurus. That shit was over. He had the Funkadactyls. That's where we got Naomi from.
Absolutely. Okay, what I'm saying, what you're saying is he's a jobber, and somehow this jobber has found success. Okay, in the NWA.
Okay, we're truthful in the NWA championship too.
Lots of really great people have been the NWA champion. Tyrus ain't one of them. All right, I'm sorry.
I feel like they should have just put the belt back on Cardona, like that.
Right? Like just leave it on Cardona. Just why not? It doesn't make sense.
So, anyways, Nick Aldis has spoken out again this week, post pay-per-view, because they had their big event this weekend, Hard Times 3 or whatever the fuck it was called.
Hard times, because everybody's got to get on those Dusty coattails. I guess
And,
Dusty's in the NWA. But
Nick Aldis sent out a tweet afterwards and said something to the effect of, "This is exactly why I made sure that I gave my notice publicly before this event, because something that I had an endeavor that I had passed on, that could have been bigger because of something I believed in has become this," or something like that. A lot of shade being thrown both directions, man. As a matter of fact, Billy Corgan was on Busted Open this week, and he fucking buried Nick Aldis.
Well, that's fine. I don't know that when I think of. I mean, I don't know that when I think of pro wrestling, I think of Billy Corgan. But at the same time, I agree. Nick Aldis did indeed bury NWA by saying what he did, but also obviously he had a thought into what was going into creative. I don't know if y'all know who Tyrus is as a human, but he's he's a regular. He's also now a regular guest on the OAN network and Fox News, and huge conspiracy theorist, believes that the 2020 election was stolen. All this crap. So you can see
you're
how
basing you're basing his personal views off of.
No, he's also not a great wrestler, but he's also not a Derek. Get out of here. He's also not a great wrestler, but you could also see and Nick Aldis. This is what Nick Aldis was alluding to. I'm trying to tell you the story. I'm building you the backdrop of what this is. I don't know if y'all know much about who people are as humans, but Nick Aldis is not a he's not an American bloke, and so I could see how he and Tyrus may not exactly get along. That and Tyrus is not of the style of Nick Aldis, where Nick Aldis is a big match guy, sort of in the realm of he sees himself sort of in the same way that Cody Rhodes, I believe, sees himself, which is not all that bad of a way to see yourself. Tyrus is not that kind of a wrestler. Tyrus has his fans too, and you know what? It is what it is. He isn't the guy that I would have chose to put the belt on. I agree. I think Cardona should have just had it, but that's maybe Cardona has other things. Cardona was also saying that like he would love to have a match with Zack Ryder.
Yeah, cinematic match against Zack Ryder.
Cinematic, yeah. I think that would be fun. I would watch. That's the kind of cinematic match I would watch.
But we're going to see it with Bray Wyatt.
We're absolutely going to see it with Bray Wyatt, although it does seem that Bray Wyatt's going to want to beat up LA Knight first for some reason.
Because LA Knight's got a big mouth.
Well, I think that's good.
Wait, do you guys hate LA Knight?
No, I love LA Knight.
No, I just didn't know that it was. Knight, man. I'm just saying, if I was picking Bray Wyatt partners or Bray Wyatt feuds, I don't know that LA Knight was a guy on my list.
Big time opportunity for LA Knight to prove that he can carry a big time feud, and if it goes poorly, Bray's going to be just fine.
Yeah,
right. But if it goes really well, it'll be one of the very, very, very few Bray Wyatt things that go very, very well, right? Like these things the Bray Wyatt stuff tends to be duds at the end. So like,
because that's with Vince McMahon in charge of that creative.
That's right. I mean, you're right.
How much of this Vince screwed it up?
You're right. How much? That's exactly the question we need to answer. That's exactly the question I'm intrigued to see. How much of this was Vince fucking it up at the end, or is it just not a thing that has enough legs to land? I don't know.
Because I don't know if you've seen the recent reports here, bud. Like he's got all but 100% control in his creative direction in WWE right now.
I know. I understand.
I mean, they went out and hired a top tier horror writer just for Bray Wyatt. Like,
yeah, that's where all this Uncle Howdy stuff's coming from.
There's a lot of eggs in that basket, bud.
I think that they really want this to work this time. I think there's too much of a legacy of like things coming in and having super hype. Like the Fiend was like, oh my God, this is the creepiest fucking thing I could have ever seen in my life. And how does it keep getting weirder and scarier and weirder and scarier? And then now it's goofy. It's like it turned to left. It was like, oh, now it's goofy.
Next thing you
Now
know,
Alexa
Black
Bliss has
Kid
black
falling
goo
out of
coming out of
Alexa
her head.
Bliss's eyes, and like it's
Yeah.
just.
I think I even
went
tried to
from
look
like,
into that, which that was just I
like,
tried.
oh my
Somebody
god,
had
it
to be
was
done
like,
with
oh
it.
my god, this is fantastic, and then it was like they left the red light on for the Hell in the Cell match, and we were like, what the fuck?
Well,
What? I
it's just
can't see
trial
what's
and
going
error,
on.
pal. I'm glad that they went away
Error!
from that eventually, but
Yeah.
it was tough.
Red light
I
was
mean,
not
the
fun.
red light, the red light during Hell in a Cell wasn't nearly as bad as the ending of that fucking match. So let's not even go down that fucking driveway, huh? But listen, man, like I don't know, like I'm interested to see how that whole Bray Wyatt LA Knight thing plays out. I do think that that's a big time spot for LA Knight, and it's an opportunity for him to elevate himself, especially considering that for the last couple of years, Vince didn't see any upside in him as a performer, and now he's in, probably the role that he should be in. I'm glad that Hunter pulled him away from the Maximum Male Models gimmick and kind of letting him get out there and stretch his legs a little bit.
So another thing, I didn't think about this last week. We didn't see Mansoor in Saudi Arabia.
We did not.
I was wondering how that would go because obviously he's not going to get a great welcome by coming out as a maximum male model.
As a maximum male model, as Mansoor. And to me, so as much as I shit on these like these blood money events, every time they push the limit or kind of give the like middle finger behind the hand of this kind of stuff, it's something that sticks with me because it's like one of those things where it's like, well, they couldn't put women on the first show. Now it's like, well, there's like 2 or 3 women's matches, and they're kind of highlight the show. Also, your hometown boy Mansoor, the guy who for the first 2 or 3 was like the guy that was like, he's our like top pick out of Saudi Arabia and yada yada.
He
yada.
won some matches he wasn't supposed to fucking win, pal.
Oh my god, they would put him up in Saudi Arabia against a top guy, and he would go over clean. And it was like, this is how these blood money things are going to go. And now he's a maximum male model. He shaves his chest. He's and he's comes off as a little gay, which is fine. I think it's cool, but I think it's totally on purpose because that shit would not fly in Saudi Arabia. Totally flies with us, and we're like, Mansoor, I love it. I fucking love it. But at the same time, that shit would not fly in Saudi Arabia. So he was not on that card because
could you imagine that phone call with his dad? Son, I really need to talk about your creative direction.
Dad,
is there something that you need to tell your mother and I?
Dad, I make more money than you. Shut up.
It's just a little gay.
It comes off as, Dad, I make more money than you. Shut up. I think that's, oh man.
I bought you a new hut. Shut up.
A new hut.
Wow.
Premium ceramic walls.
Wow.
That's wrong. Come on. I was dancing the line.
Bro.
I was dancing the
Jesus
line, and now
Christ.
you're buying the huts over here. God damn it. But no, we did not see Mansoor.
The views of Derek are not necessarily that of the One Fall WrestleCast.
No, they're not. I honestly, I was kind of, I was like, oh man. So I actually thought, I thought they were going to bring him out during the Saudi show as Mansoor of Max. I thought they were going to have him pose, and I was going to be like, oh please, oh
Could
please.
you imagine the Saudi
God.
winter collection? Him.
Oh my god! Yes, that would have been that. Oh my god! Oh my god! That would have been all anybody to talk about. Can you believe the balls on these motherfuckers? They paraded this guy out here and made him show off the Saudi winter collection.
We poke fun at it, right? But like, that's a big time spot for him. That's a big time deal for him to be in that spot. And like, that's a Vince McMahon brainchild, bro. And it's like, he just continues to go out there and have good matches. Like, we know that he's quote unquote enhancement talent right now, but like, he continues to go out there and have good matches, and he continues to make a name for himself. And one day he's going to be able, if he continues to put on these great performances, he's going to be able to shed this whole Maximum Male Models Mansoor thing.
I think honestly, this is better than him being Mansoor. I think this is
100%. I'm not mad at it at all. I'm just saying,
this is a big step up.
At some point, he's gonna be able to be a little bit of a more real type character, like
Yeah.
a Ricochet or something like that, as long as he
Yeah.
continues to shine. And I think that that's the one thing that
It's really his
WWE
selling. I think that they put him in a position like this is because the man can sell his ass off, and I think
Absolutely.
that's he's I've talked about this before. My sort of respect for like those ragdoll characters. Like I said, I bring up time and time again. Liv Morgan and Ruby Riott were those ragdoll characters for the upcoming of Ronda Rousey. When Ronda was like climbing that ladder, she was beating the hell out of Liv and Ruby Riott like every week, and that got her over. And then and then they sort of did the same thing for Shayna Baszler in that Elimination Chamber match. Liv did anyway, and oh man, that was cool. It's the ragdoll thing I think is very important, and I do think that he has, he's got that down right, and that was a big Sean thing, right? Because Sean would oversell and ragdoll things, and I think that if Mansoor can kind of put that into something else, or turn that into a more serious angle, which I'm sure it will at some point. I think it'll be great. And so, yeah, I think that he's in exactly the point where he would want to be at this point. And hopefully, he keeps moving up from there.
And I know we're focusing just on Mansoor, right? But I think that's one thing that WWE has shifted gears on since the Triple H takeover, right? Is that they're really working on building some of these other talents, right? Like some of these younger names.
And they're doing it with factions, which is the way they did it during the Attitude Era.
Yes.
Because you can't just throw these guys out there by themselves and be like, go swim. Like we've seen too many. It didn't work in the past. They didn't make anybody do that in the past. Why would they make people do it now? Just because John Cena could do it, like it doesn't mean that everybody can do it. Clearly, even Roman needed the Shield.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, but I bring that up because, all the chatter around AEW and their young stars, Derek, and it's like, you got to really look at the two products now and who is doing a better job at building that young talent. Is it WWE or is it AEW?
If you're asking me as a serious question, I don't really think at this point we've seen enough of AEW to say one way or another. WWE, obviously, we have consistent over the years seen that they can do it when Vince wanted to, and whenever said person was one of Vince's favorites, or if out of nowhere there was some amazing event, like for instance Becky's situation, how that turned into a huge pop for her. AEW, though, I can't say that it's good. I would not give them flying colors on the developing talent side of things, considering, like we were saying earlier, all the storyline jumping, guys. We can't get any sort of consistency to build a relationship with these stars. Plus,
and
they're pushing horrible shit like Nyla Jax and like, I don't know. For instance, that was the worst. If you guys watch Rampage, it was the worst fucking match.
What a great Freudian slip that was. What a good Freudian slip that was. Nyla Rose.
Oh shit, you're right.
Nyla Rose. A Freudian
Nyla
slip
Jax.
is when you think, when your brain goes one way, but your mouth goes another, and your mouth tells the truth of where your brain is going. You called her Nyla Jax. That was a Freudian slip. Because,
no, we just call that Derek speak.
Anyway, there's a legitimate psychoanalyst fucking word for it. It's a Freudian slip. Derek has them all the time.
Often. That's what I do.
But
it's part of my gimmick.
I bring all this up, right? Because you take a look at both products, and I think AEW's got all the potential in the world, but they're just in their own way. And I continue to watch every single week, and I continue to find good little things that they do. and it's just swimming in a sea of bad. And
So again, one of my favorite things that happened this week was something that was universally panned online, but the only reason I liked it was because they squashed a guy who I thought was bullshit for a year. And they brought him out there and they let Wardlow squash Wardlow, who I think is the real deal, right? And I think he would be one of those, one of those rose in the thorns that you would think. Like Wardlow is great. And they stuck him with Samoa Joe because in their dummy caveman booking, it was like Samoa Joe good, Wardlow good, put together. War Joe is good, yes. War Joe is good. War Joe good. War Joe good. This dummy caveman booking, that worked. Why did it work? Because it's dummy caveman booking. Was it a fucking waste? Could we have had Wardlow do something good like in the first hour and Samoa Joe do something good in the second hour? Yeah, we could have. But instead, it's like, Wardlow good, Samoa Joe good, make good together.
Yeah, well, now they're gonna make beautiful music in a match.
Exactly, but at the same time, it's like, why can't we have Wardlow feud with somebody and Samoa Joe feud with somebody else? Like, I know these are two top profile guys, but it's like now this is like, well, that's the main event. All right, I'll turn it on at 9:30. That's like, what? Like, what am I? They've built nothing else. Jade Cargill, I can't believe she's like this is like all of that and around the TBS the TBS championship. That is just utter trash. Oh, where's Athena? Have we seen Athena since she beat the shit out of that enhancement talent?
No.
Where's she been? She was a game changer. Let's not forget, a game changer. They say, Athena, that's a game changer. Who else was Ruby Soho? Where she's hurt. That's right. They let her. They let all their botch machines get at her, and they busted her face. They pushed it all the way in. So she had to like have her face reconstructed. I'm glad she, is gonna be able to come back and wrestle, but she had to have like her nose like put back together like a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle because they can't fucking wrestle.
Fucking hater, bro. Like
I mean, I don't know. You guys turned me into a hater. I was like kind of like, it wasn't that bad. It was pretty decent this week because they killed a guy that I didn't like. Sammy got booed a lot. Sammy got the shit kicked out of him by Daniel Bryan. It was not that bad. And now I'm like thinking back and I'm like, no, fuck these guys, fuck these people. And it's so it's hard to like be positive when it's like I'm sort of only wanting to be negative. And I don't know if you have this on like as a talking point, but Saraya coming back to wrestle now too is sort of it's something itchy to think about, right? Only because of the sort of like itch around it, right? And all of everybody is so sensitive to it, particularly because Saraya's like, I had all the best doctors clear me and I could wrestle again and blah, blah, blah. And that, look, do I want to see her come back and wrestle? Absolutely. But then she and everybody on the internet compared it to Edge and compared it to Bryan Danielson coming back. First of all, Bryan Danielson coming back to me was incredibly terrifying. Every time I would see him take a bump, I would go, I didn't enjoy the first year of him being back because every time he took a bump, I was like, oh God, no. Oh God. And I wasn't the only one. This is me and the entire internet for the first year of Daniel Bryanson being back. He was Daniel Bryan at the time. And then Edge came back. Luckily for me, I know there was speculation, but I tried to take all that with a grain of salt. When Edge came back, it was a surprise debut, right? So I didn't really have the like build up of like Edge is gonna come back. Edge came back and did good. He still did good. Yeah. I was still every time Edge took a bump, I still went but with Edge, it had been like a long time, right? It had been longer than it had been longer than Bryan Danielson or Daniel Bryan was what? 7 years, 6 years?
7 years.
7 years. But with Saraya, we're not quite at 5, right?
Yeah, it's like 4.5.
So it's a lot quicker, and the sort of anticipation has now had the chance to drag out because she's been around now in AEW, cutting promos, doing stuff. And now that's back is like, is she going to wrestle? And there's people that are like, yeah, we want her to wrestle. But at this point, there's skepticism, and she took that as being like, y'all are being sexist about me coming back. It's like, no, because we've done this with other male superstars who came back a lot slower than you did. And also, let's not forget, this is her second injury. This is neck injury number 2 for her. Those other guys, it happened. It was the first time that they had gone away for it, but they had to because of it. This was number 2 for her. So I don't know. Look, I feel like I'll be the same way if and when Big E comes back too. I don't think, I think it's unfair to, and I think this is where the internet was, nobody questions the male wrestlers when I think that's absolutely wrong. I don't want to see any of my favorite wrestlers die in the ring. None of. I don't want to see Ric Flair die in the ring either. The man's 80 goddamn years old. It was coming there. It was coming. I don't want to see him die in the ring either. And now he's like, oh, I'm inspired. No, stop being inspired. Don't be inspired. Sit down.
That's going to be a pay-per-view event. The death of Ric Flair. That's the next.
Oh my God, the death of Ric Flair is going to happen live on pay-per-view. I mean, but
a death match for real.
But only Ric Flair would have his death be broadcast live on pay-per-view. It's more fitting, I think, for Ric Flair than for any other human who's alive currently. But that being said, obviously Saraya's cleared. She's going to fight Dr. Britt at Full Gear. I'm intrigued. I don't think that will turn out poorly. I think that Britt Baker is certainly a top tier talent. At this point, I think she has enough experience, and I think they're going to go through everything enough to make sure that they're not going to kill Saraya on pay-per-view. However,
pay the price.
Get it ready to pay the price. However, my worry, it goes to when they become complacent about it. Like, oh well, she did 20 minutes with Dr. Britt, and that was fine. Well, maybe she can go 5 minutes with Nyla Rose or Nyla Jax, whomever we're talking about here. But let's go Saraya versus Nyla Rose. Let's do that. No. What? They got all these botch machines, and that's the other thing too, is that in AEW the women's division is full of botch machines. So
I feel bad for that jobber that she worked out on Friday on Rampage. That was just sad.
So it's one of those things where it's just like, we got all these botch machines, and it's like, well, why are you questioning the health of my neck? It's like, well, we're not, but you're not in the WWE where they're going to take care of you with the absolute best wrestlers who've ever, like, the top 1% of the top 1%. You're going to get in there. They're going to put you in there with Nyla Rose at some point. They're going to put you in there with, with Hikaru Shida at some point. So somebody.
A dumpster fire she is.
Right. I'm just saying, like
how you going to get me started on fucking Shida, bro?
I'm just saying that's the potential. The dumpster fire potential is there. That roster does not have enough top tier women. They don't have the Baileys and the Charlottes and Becky Lynch. They don't have Bianca Belair. They don't have Naomi. They don't have they don't have Natty Neidhart. They don't have these like top tier, like, I know exactly how to take care of somebody and make sure that I can have a good match with them, and they'll wake up the next morning and feel fine. Like, they don't have these workers. They don't have that caliber of worker. They've got like 2, maybe 3, but their women's division's like 80 people long. What happens when they put her in there with Jade Cargill and Jade Cargill kicks her in the face for real? Like, it's not the same thing.
Goldberg.
Exactly.
Goldberg.
Exactly. So this is the concern. How come nobody was concerned about the men? Because they're only going to be working with top talent because they're top guys. That's why nobody was concerned about the men being put into situations that were dangerous. You're now in AEW, which is the fucking wild, wild west with a bunch of botch machines, and we're worried about you being killed by botch machines because your death level, your health bar is smaller than everybody else's is. Okay, whether or not you want to look at it in that regard, your health bar is not as big as everybody else's is, because you got a neck here that could just snap and you'd be and you're dead. And we're gonna sit you out here with botch machines who don't understand how to take care of that. So that's why. And I think that, you gave me shit for it, and the internet continues to give people shit for it, but like, it's not the same caliber of worker. So, when Nyla Rose,
but we still love him.
Skips over to the fact that
but I'm not letting Derek give me a suplex.
WWE.
I'm not letting Derek
in WWE though. They were given,
but they were build up through WWE. They were a build up. It was a build up. It wasn't a like, I am a build. Thank you. Actually, that's the best compliment you could have given me. I am a build up.
You are.
Oh, for fuck's sake, I'm getting deep around here.
All right, I won't go any further.
Like Derek, well, why is it every time Tom starts talking bad about AEW, you get this look on your face? Like,
it's because whenever Dr. Tom comes out, I just kind of glaze over, and I know what's coming, and
not eat a snack.
We're not even taking account to the fact that obviously there were people that went to school for 10 years that know how to read an MRI that say that we're good.
Wait, they know how to read a what now? What did you say? They know how to remember MRI? I heard remember MRI.
Oh, okay. Whatever they are.
All right.
That's where I'm at.
Well, I'm just like, look. They're gonna
ring, go 110%, do your thing.
I just don't want them to read the MRI after she takes a Nyla Rose powerbomb and go, yeah, she dead. That's the MRI I don't want them to read. So I'm just saying that, like, I don't think that she's in the hands of the best and the brightest, and that's my concern.
It's fair. It's fair.
I feel like that's a fair concern. I feel like if you're in anywhere, if you're in the hands of the AEW women's division, maybe I should be concerned. Like, if in any division, what's the division that you would be most concerned about? Anybody? Walt. Most
AEW
botched
women's division.
Derek, what's the most botchy division you could be in right now as a professional wrestler that gets television time?
Oh, you had to throw that in there. All right, I guess AEW women's division.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. That's my point, ladies and gentlemen.
That's why Soraya's there. She's there to change that narrative, pal.
Great. I hope she changes the narrative. I hope she changes the narrative. I hope she changes the narrative and is not a casualty of the narrative or of the locker room.
Hey, so have either of you guys ever been to Peoria, Illinois?
I've driven through it.
Yeah. It's the site of Wayne's World,
Yeah, I said that as I drove through. I might have peed in a restroom there, but I don't think I was there for much.
Well, WWE ran a live event in Peoria last night.
Peoria. Okay, how'd that go?
Some old woman got arrested.
I love it.
Why?
Because she threw her alcoholic beverage at Scarlett.
I saw that.
Why?
Either Scarlett was getting heat or she didn't like how Scarlett was dressed. Either way, I love it.
Scarlett took to Twitter, right? She stayed in character and she was like, to the old woman that threw the drink on me, you're what did it say? Your makeup was as cheap as your booze or some shit like that. Like, that's fucking salty shit right there. When was the last time you heard this kind of rumbling coming out of a WWE house show or any show really? Like,
I mean, I think Scarlett's on a different level. If we're being honest, I think that she's her presence is it's unsettling to people, especially in this day and age, right? Like in the 90s, like we had a lot of things where there was like, yeah, boobs and butts and whatever. You could watch La Femme Nikita after or before you watched before you watched Monday Night Raw, or what was the cop show with bikes that always also had butts?
Pacific Blue.
Pacific Blue. Yeah, you could watch Pacific Blue. And we had that stuff that was risque and more of that. You had the Howard Stern show on, and he had those porn stars on. And there was with the cameras and stuff, with the girls going wild commercials and all that. And so I feel like it was a much more less backwards thing. And now if you want to see stuff like that, you have to seek it out which is better and worse in certain ways. It's less mainstream, but I feel like when you have somebody like Scarlett walk out dressed the way that Scarlett is dressed, which is like kind of the way Sable really would have been dressed, but back in the mid '90s.
Absolutely.
And it evokes something from everybody in different ways.
I know what it evokes from me, bud.
Hey, but maybe from them older ladies, they don't want to see that. How don't you show me that smut on that because they haven't seen it since the '90s, and they're these fucking Puritans are out here, and they're trying to get their way, and what we say to the virgins is thanks for nothing. So so I think this is a factor of that, and I'm really 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 glad that this went down, and I'm glad that Scarlett took it in such stride, because that to me is the most powerful thing she could do, right? Is to just take it in stride. It's like, your booze are as cheap as you are, you fucking bitch, or whatever. And that's great. That's fantastic. And I think that, if that's the way we're going to go with this, and that's the road we're going to take, and that's the road that's the narrative that the heels in WWE are going to take. I'm here for it, and I'm here to cheer the heels, and to tell them to, tell her to suck it. That I'm here to be that guy. So let's keep rolling. Kudos to Charlotte for making a moment out of what's actually pretty shitty, but she made a moment out of it, and good for her, because she's a consummate professional. No, but I mean,
remember the days of like people were throwing fucking D-cell batteries at
They
Eric
were.
Bischoff's face. Like, this is,
I mean,
he
deserved it too. No, it is. You're right. It's nothing, but at the same time, it's evoking a response from the crowd. We haven't evoked responses from the crowd for a long time.
Well, apparently you can't evoke a response of that nature, otherwise we go to prison. Whereas before,
she was just arrested. She didn't go to prison
for a while. Hey, pal, just like 6-7 months ago, we had some fucking psycho jump the fucking barricade at Monday Night Raw and fucking lay out Seth Rollins on the fucking entrance ramp.
That's
I'm
true.
not condoning that, but
Well, and also Jericho had to beat the shit out of some guy that tried to go after MJF. These were like 3 weeks apart. I'm just saying that like they finally got people to evoke some sort of like guttural response from the crowd. And do the marks does it take over for the marks? Yeah, sure. But at the same time, it's like we didn't see that for a while, and now we're seeing these these marks have so much. They feel so much. This was the way, like my grandmother was a huge wrestling fan. My God rest her soul. My grandmother, wrestling fan. She would watch wrestling with me as a kid. Loved Bruno Sammartino. She and her 7 sisters. Insanity. Okay, you ever see these 8? Yeah, these 8 women in a room together. It was the loudest room I've ever been in my entire life. You cannot imagine. You could not. I can still hear it, but you cannot imagine. Anyway, they would go when Bruno Sammartino was the champ because their father was connected. We'll just put it that way. So they sat front row when Bruno Sammartino was defending the title, and they would fucking scream and yell, "Oh, you son of a!"
You're a bum.
To hear my grandmother tell these stories to me, this is part of the reason why I'm still a wrestling fan. But the fact that we are now evoking that same emotion, that wrestling is now evoking that same emotion from a crowd, is just chef's kiss. That's all I got to say about that.
Hey, so I got one more thing, and then we can hop into match of the week and get out of here. Sarah Logan made her return this week.
Yeah, she did.
Wow.
Man, she catching a lot of shit for looking like Max the Impaler.
She kind of does look like Max the Impaler. Although isn't Max the Impaler trans? I mean, it's less makeup, but it's almost like the clothing is exactly the same.
Well, the whole eye makeup here too, but really that's a Viking thing. So I mean, it was in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so
yeah,
really stealing her gimmick whenever it's historically accurate.
Fair.
Her. I'm not sure.
To me, it's
that one.
That's whatever to me. Like her coming back and the comparisons that it's drawn to Max the Impaler, like that's just whatever. Like that doesn't do it for me. She's not gonna wrestle. She's
Honestly,
just a piece.
Yeah, no, I don't think she's gonna wrestle at all either. Because I think that
was my big takeaway from the thing is like, girl, you need to put some little better ring gear on. Something fits you a little better. Something that don't
No,
right
stop
up on
it.
your hole.
Stop it. Sarah looks good. Leave her be. Leave Sarah alone.
No,
yeah, that's it. That's the point. That's the point. She did that on purpose.
So bad. Who is your husband? He's right there beside you.
He's right there. He doesn't have any hair. He's bald.
He's not telling you.
So bald. He's bald. He's bald.
So if nobody has anything else to bring to the table, I guess we'll just go ahead and hit match of the week.
Oh, this is going to be easy. I've got the best match of the week. There's no argument.
Tom?
Oh, we don't wait. There's no intro. I don't get to have an intro.
No, I didn't know if you had anything else you would like to discuss before we went into match of the week.
No, I'm glad to see Sarah Logan back. I'm super excited for it. Oh, it's me. Okay, so my match of the week, easy peasy. Seth Rollins versus Bobby Lashley, and there was a failed Money in the Bank cash in.
Which was,
I love it.
Yeah.
No, I loved it. They've been making Austin Theory look like a geek for weeks. I think this really just kind of like puts the stamp on that. He was out this week too. I don't know what happened. I obviously have it on mute. But I thought it was great, especially because it was built through the whole show. And that's, if there's anything about me, it's a consistency build through the whole show. Watched all of Raw as they build through the show. And they even touched on what happened last week, this week, because if you remember last week, Bobby Lashley was giving like an interview before this match with against Seth Rollins. And then like Mustafa Ali attacked him and Bobby Lashley beat the shit out of him, threw him into a dumpster or something. They continued the interview, which just, I laughed really hard when that happened. And then, we moved on. Hey, Shelty B is out this week, by the way. Anyway, and
2 weeks in a row.
So yeah, 2 weeks in a row. That's good stuff. That's because Mia Yim's back. They have to dislike each other face to face, not just on Twitter. Although I think they actually love each other. But anyway, no, it was great, and I loved the cash-in angle. I loved that Bobby Lashley pulled out the referee when Theory was about to cash in and win. I love that, he and Theory have the little thing on the outside, and as the referee recovers and whatever, and then as Theory slides in to beat the 10 count, Rollins comes with a stomp, stomps him and pins him 1, 2, 3. Loved it. It really was, to me, kind of like matches like this where something sort of unexpected happens. Like why would I expect Theory to try to cash in on the U.S. title, other than the fact that I know that he's the youngest U.S. champion of all time, and they've built that up over the last couple of weeks. It's not necessarily long-term storytelling, but like Derek and I were talking about earlier, it's focused, right? And there was a focus to it, to where there was seeds planted every week, and you saw a little bit of it every week, and everybody talked to each other every week. And then finally, when it all came to a climax in the main event of last week's Monday Night Raw, it made all the sense in the world, and it was executed perfectly, and it was perfect drama for what would be a great Monday Night Raw main event. And I loved it. So that's my match of the week, just because they kind of planted the seeds. The seeds grew a flower, and the flower I thought was pretty. So thank you very much, Seth Rollins, who was still whoa, which I kind of like. I like the gimmick. I don't know why everybody shits on it, but I still like it.
I just love watching Seth Rollins be Seth Rollins, pal.
Who doesn't?
Derek doesn't like watching Seth Rollins be Seth Rollins.
Derek, I don't know what's wrong with you, but it's great.
It got over more with me when I saw it live. I'll be honest. That's for sure.
Yeah, you're like a little fucking child. All right, bud, what's your match of the week?
I was front row. What do you want from me? No, I wasn't front row for that one.
No.
Match match of the week for me. Well, building off of what Tom said, since we're going to talk a little bit about continuity here, I'm going to go with New Day and the Bloodline for the tag team championship, which would have been
Usos.
down. Yes. Obviously, if they had won, they had the opportunity to stop the Usos from becoming the new longest reigning tag team champions.
I loved how I didn't really know that until the match started, and I was
Really?
like, "Oh, that's the
Oh, no.
case."
You didn't
They
know
brought
that?
it up
Today?
last week. They brought it up last week.
I went over my head last week. Then
Brought
I
it up
guess,
last month, actually.
but
planting
still,
seeds.
like
Plant seeds.
I was saying, it didn't click to me that it was like this week.
Yeah.
That this week would have been the week, but this
was their opportunity. This was their time to put the kibosh on them losing the record, and
Which you're right. I appreciate the continuity, and the build is obviously now at this point like 8 years long between these two teams.
Yes.
It's fantastic. Fantastic.
It was great, and
Bloodline touches at this point is just gold. So
yeah, 100%. There was no way in hell that anybody thought that the New Day was going to win that match. However, they kicked off the show, and they gave them plenty of time to go out there and put on a fucking banger, and they absolutely did. I don't see, from a match that we've seen how many hundreds of times before, to still have that much flair and that much pizzazz. Man,
I don't know that I've ever had to complain about the New Day versus the Usos, whereas like, oh my God, please don't let me watch Becky versus Charlotte again. Like I've said things like that. I've never said, oh my God, please don't make me watch the Usos versus the New Day again. I could probably watch this 100 more times and not say that. It's just they're just that good.
To me just has that special soft spot in my heart too, where it's just got that longevity where matches.
Good tag team wrestling.
Yeah, it has to be good.
Team wrestling.
I could watch FTR wrestle anybody, and I could probably watch them wrestle the same team like 6 weeks in a row and probably still be into it.
What if it was Blackpool Combat Club and Wheeler Yuta and Bryan Danielson were their opponents
versus FTR? I could probably still watch that. The only person I don't like out of that is Wheeler Yuta, but as long as you're not going to like let him talk. Like he can be like the fourth guy. I'm fine with that.
He came out with a microphone, and instead of it was a microphone, it was a floppy.
I'd hit mute.
I'm pretty sure I should be on the booking committee. All right, well, what's your match of the week?
Well, my match of the week was absolutely the tag team match between the New Day and the Usos. However, there was a match that took place on Friday Night SmackDown that definitely grabbed my attention. And it deserves to be discussed here right now at this point in time. And that is one Shinsuke Nakamura taking on none other than Santos Escobar from Legado del Fantasma.
That was
these
great.
Two young men put on a work rate match that was very, very enjoyable. I like the idea of the SmackDown World Cup.
Shin is older than we are by a lot. He's like 45 years old.
But listen, I like the fact that Santos Escobar went over in this. I think that that's an important piece of this puzzle, right? Like, I like what they're doing with the World Cup, the SmackDown World Cup on Fox, right? With the chance to challenge Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, and it's fun because it's up in the air and it's a bunch of like underutilized or new name talent. I think that that's kind of where we're at on this, right? And I really like that they're doing that and they're taking some chances with that, similar to AEW doing the title eliminator tournament over on their side of things. This, however, doesn't have as much meaning in the grand scheme of WWE, and that's just because their championship means more and is much more elevated, and it's on the biggest star in all of pro wrestling right now. But
Gunther?
No, I'm talking about their world title.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I know.
You just
I know.
You just dared me.
I was.
That's all that was.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah.
So I'm really interested to see where this tournament goes and who they anoint the next challenger to Gunther. I don't know, but it was a fun match, and I'm glad that my eye holes got to enjoy it.
Well, I'd just like to say I pity the fool that wins this tournament because Gunther is going to slap the fucking shit out of him.
Slap the shit out of him. Win, lose, or draw. Your chest is gonna be like, ow.
Yeah.
Next morning, you're gonna wake up the next
to
morning.
win this tournament.
You're gonna wake up in the morning and go, fuck. Maybe I didn't want this.
Right? I didn't even get a title out of this.
Maybe I didn't want anything to do with this. Even if you win, you can look at the title and be like, I'm not gonna put it over my shoulder because that would hurt. It'll sit
There'd
right
be
here.
no rematch clause because fuck that
Right,
guy.
right where he fucking slapped me. Can't do it.
Oh,
It hurts
man.
so much.
Well, gentlemen, if we don't have anything else to say, let's go
Oh,
ahead
I got nothing.
get on up out of here.
It was a good show. I laughed hard.
It was good.
I can always tell because if it's a good show because I'm sore here if I've laughed hard enough.
Way to make chicken
so much
salad
here.
out of chicken shit, because it was
Yeah,
definitely
it was-
a slow news week.
It was not a lot to do this week.
Even the dirt sheets was you knew it was a slow news week because they were like, Vince McMahon's never had a corn dog.
I was like, what? What?
Look, I had like 60 last week. Little mini ones.
There's some in my freezer right now.
Yeah,
He
right.
can come
I
up-
got some little mini corn dogs.
Vince can come over if he wants a corn dog.
I
I
have to
mean,
throw some of those in the air fryer.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh,
Put
yeah.
some bitches in the air fryer.
Yeah. All right. Well, in that case, hey, check us out over on Twitter and Instagram at @1_fall WC. That's ONE. If you're here with us right now, please hit that like button. Really, really helps us out. Thank you so very much. And if you're with us now, anywhere, anytime, we appreciate you. With all that being said, thanks for hanging out. It's all love. We'll catch you next week. One Fall WrestleCast. I like how Derek spends all this extra money on a microphone and